Hey everyone, Alyssa Lebrecq, nutritionist and gut expert. We're going to give this another go. So we're going to be talking all about Sibo. I was just live, but the sound wasn't working. So let me know if you can hear me in the comments before we really dive deep here. Tonight we're going to be talking all about Sibo because the number one thing that really holds people back from fixing their gut is that they're missing critical pieces of the puzzle. And so tonight I want to get you some clarity, but if you're watching this right now, yay, you guys can hear me. Awesome. Thank you for letting me know in the comments. We're going to dive deep here. So many of you have tried everything and nothing seems to be working. And so you so badly want to be able to get control back over your gut so that your gut isn't controlling your life, because it's starting to really affect your quality of life. It's starting to affect your ability to show up your best self for your family and your kids. And maybe you're finding yourself a little short or snappy with friends or colleagues or your family. Or maybe your husband just keeps getting the worst side of you because he's the one that you always confide in and are always sort of sharing or complaining about the symptoms, and so he doesn't get to see you very happy and you don't want to be intimate, and it's just really starting to affect every crevice of your life. And so you don't just want to be able to poop again. You want to be able to feel like you don't have a brick that you're carrying around in your stomach. And maybe you're sick and tired of feeling like you look pregnant and people asking you when your due date is when you're out in public. You know, all of these things are what is really driving you crazy. Am I right? And so you've tried all the dang things. You've done all the diets, the low FODMAP. You've tried eliminating foods, restricting foods. You've gone to the health food store and you've bought some expensive probiotic, and then that didn't work. In fact, it might have even made you feel worse. And so you've gotten to the point where you feel like maybe it's not even possible for you to feel normal again. And I want you to understand here tonight, if you're watching this, if there's just one thing that you take away from me, please let it be that it's absolutely possible for you to feel normal again. And just because it hasn't worked yet doesn't mean it's not possible. It means that you're missing critical pieces of information. And so tonight I want you to learn about this really big piece of the puzzle that is being missed by so many practitioners and so many people trying to figure out what's going on inside their gut. So if you are watching this and you know we're talking about Sibo, let me know in the comments. If there's someone watching this, if you know that you have Sibo, let me know in the comments. Just write Sibo. If you know that you have Sibo, you've done the breath test, you've been diagnosed, let me know in the comments. And then if you're watching this and you're like, I don't know what Sibo is, I want you to let me know. Put a question mark in the comments if you're not sure what Sibo is. I want to make sure that I'm getting every single one of you guys watching this the clarity that you need. And then lastly, if you haven't been diagnosed, but you know what Sibo is and you're thinking, I'm pretty sure that might be me, then I want you to put an exclamation mark, okay? So if you've got Sibo, type Sibo, drop it in the comments like it's hot. If you don't know what the heck Sibo is and you're thinking, I think I need to learn more about this, question mark. Okay, and if you suspect you might have Sibo, put an exclamation mark, drop that in the comments so that we can make sure we get each of you guys clarity. Okay, I'm seeing lots of question marks coming through. We got a couple Sibos. All right, here's the thing, guys. If you have IBS, you have to understand what Sibo is. Here's why. Studies are now showing that up to 80% of those that are suffering with IBS actually have Sibo. So what the heck is Sibo, and why are our doctors not talking about it? Why are other practitioners not talking about it? Here is the thing with Sibo. I want you to imagine your intestinal tract, okay? So your small intestine, and then it goes into your large intestine or your colon. Okay? Now, if you can imagine your intestines, they have this peristalsis, this muscle contraction that happens that helps to push waste and stool and bacteria through the intestines and out in your poop, okay? That shoots the poop out the back end and into the toilet, okay? So The problem becomes when this muscle contraction, we call it motility, becomes slow. And so when that motility starts to slow down and it gets really sluggish, then we have these bacteria that end up getting trapped in the small intestine. And so essentially what happens is we end up with an overgrowth of bacteria in the small intestines. This is what we call small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. Now there's two different types of SIBO that you need to know about. The first type is methane dominant SIBO, and the second type is hydrogen dominant SIBO. It's really critical that you understand what type of SIBO you might have, because the treatment plan is completely different for the two different types of SIBO. And so testing is really important, not guessing, all right? So we know that up to 80% of those with IBS actually have SIBO. Let's start to talk about what are some of the symptoms that can come with SIBO. Well, the challenge is that a lot of the symptoms are similar to that of IBS, but there are some really key symptoms that tend to be indicators that this is more likely SIBO going on. So we know gas and bloating, diarrhea, constipation, these are all, again, symptoms. But when we see an individual who has persistent diarrhea or constipation, and it doesn't matter what they do, their bowels just do not seem to respond, then that is usually an indicator that there's something deeper going on, and that's when we start to look at SIBO. Also, if you ever feel like you have trapped gas in your stomach, we need to talk about SIBO. So do you ever get that feeling? It's like you can feel this gurgling sensation happening, and you can also almost push on your belly and feel like the bubbles, air bubbles moving around. That kind of sensation is also indicative of SIBO. Now, some other really common symptoms are this persistent bloating. The number one pesky symptom that comes with SIBO is persistent bloating, but it's the type of bloating that tends to be all damn day, right? Not just bloating after meals, but all day bloating, and that type of bloating that leaves you feeling like you have a brick in your stomach. You might even be looking like you could pass for pregnant. Now, I'm sharing these examples with you guys, but these are sort of extreme cases of SIBO that are much more obvious, that are really like, okay, we need to get tested here. But there are other less severe cases that can still mean that you have SIBO. Remember, 80% of those with IBS have SIBO. That is a huge statistic. We can't just slough that off and cross our fingers and hope that that's not what it is. We have to get addressing this. So, one of the frustrating parts of SIBO, and one of the reasons why so many people get caught when they're trying to fix their gut, is that they're doing all the dang things, but when we have this type of bacterial overgrowth, they will prevent your stomach from replenishing the specific nutrients that help to keep them out. Okay, so let me explain a little bit further here. When we go to get rid of SIBO, the number one mistake that practitioners and people are making when they're trying to fix SIBO is those that are aware they have SIBO, they might be taking supplements, even antibiotics to help get rid of the SIBO. But the big thing that gets missed is people aren't fixing the reason why it came in the first place. So they do all this weeding, they kick out the SIBO, but then it comes rushing right back. Okay, so that's problem number one. Some of the reasons, though, that SIBO keeps coming back, as we talked about, is motility issues, but the other big piece is an underactive stomach. And so the challenge with this sort of catch-22 scenario is SIBO will prevent your stomach from replenishing. So you can take all the right supplements, you can be trying to replenish your stomach so that it's breaking down your foods properly, but SIBO will keep that stomach underactive. And so the other big mistake that people are making is they're trying to take things like probiotics and enzymes and L-glutamine, all these different supplements that in theory are beneficial for the gut, but they're not going to help you until you get rid of the SIBO first. And so these are some really common mistakes that happen when it comes to Sibo. And so if you feel like you have tried all of the things, you are taking supplements, you've changed your diet, you're drinking the water, you're doing everything possible, but you still find that you're planning your bathroom routes, or you feel like you can't poop no matter how many laxatives or no matter how much, some sort of supplemental laxative or, medications, whatever you're throwing at it, nothing's working. If you feel like you have this persistent bloating and pain that's happening in your gut, we really need to take a look at Sibo. So, step number 1 is figure out what type of Sibo you have. And the number 1 question that I get is, Alyssa, how do I know if I have Sibo? You must test. You cannot guess. This is the number 1 thing that we help our clients with in the Love and Trust Your Guts program, is helping them to get tested for Sibo. And the gold standard test for Sibo testing right now is a 3-hour lactulose breath test. And a lot of the times, again, people are guessing, but because there's 2 different types of Sibo, that means the treatment plan is different. And so we have to first address the Sibo, figure out what you have, then we have to weed out the Sibo, and then we start to replenish your gut. And that, my friend, is what finally gets rid of the symptoms that you have been fighting and getting stuck with. Remember, it's not that it's not possible for you to feel normal again, it's that you are missing a critical piece of the puzzle. And so we just have to simply fill in that piece. So, drop a thumbs up in the comments if this was helpful, first of all, but also if you suspect that you might have Sibo and you're needing some help and not sure where to start, drop a thumb in the comments, thumbs up, and I'm going to shoot you a message. We're going to get you some support. Okay, guys, if this was helpful, give it a like, give it a share, and we will see you next week. Bye.